Okay, so the goal here is that we initialize a variable and access that variable and show that in this paragraph, right? So I had ng app as a value before. I'm removing it for now because I don't have like matching module code for that. So for now it can be blank. So when I pull my file, I can see x equal to 5. So let me change x to 15. That will change to 15. Okay, so this variable is in memory, and when I do a bind, I access that variable. So you can think of it as data binding at this point. Okay, so let's look at another situation where if you have an input field, and then you want to save this to a field called name. And then of course you want to like bind it to a paragraph. Okay, so what's happening here is you have an input field, it's a text field. So whatever input is being given, the value is going to be saved in this variable called name. So that is ng model. So this is model binding. And then if you want to access it, you use the ng bind. So let's see how that works. So that's the name, see, and that is going to be the paragraph. Maybe we can say here name is okay. So if we want it to be in the same line, we can make it as a span. Okay, so ng model takes any data and saves it to a variable in memory. Init does the same thing. Init is to initialize a variable. So there's two ways you can create model variables. ng bind is going to access the variable and populate whatever element you are specifying that on. Okay, so these are the three directives, very important directives. Okay, so we can see the three different directives here. So then let's move on to expressions. Expression is, like I said, if you put two curly braces and you have any kind of operation here, a plus b, let's see what happens. A plus b is ab, so it did the concatenation. You can do numeric operation here. There you have 304 arithmetic operations. So what happens with an expression is wherever you place the expression is exactly where it will display the value. It evaluates the expression right away and it displays the value. Let us say that you want to display your name. Instead of using your bind, also you can call it here. That's your name. Okay, so there is multiple ways to do the same operation. So that is an expression. So if you think about what other things we talked about, all model and view and controller and all of that, and so far we've just been working on the HTML. So let us see how we can use our controller. So any code that you write inside your JavaScript is your controller code. So let's think about it. So this is also where we can talk about scope. So this ng app we are going to call this as my app1. Okay, and then with each app you can attach a controller. Okay, so this is going to be, so any variables that are defined within any element or variable, any data that is being defined within this element, this div element, will be accessible in the controller as long as we write some code for it. Okay, so this is going to be, scope is going to be always local to that module, so you don't have global scope. Okay, global scope opens up opportunities for your code to be overwritten or to have unpredictable results. So Angular, the emphasis here is to have everything local to that module. So anything you do in this module is local to this module. All this X and name you can access inside your code also. So now let's see. So first statement that you want is you declare an app module, angular.module, and then you say the name of your module. This parameter here is going to denote that you are like, you can specify any of your dependent modules here, which we are not going to do at this point. So whenever you have an app, you have to associate a controller with it. We are going to call our controller1. Okay, and when in the model controller, if you think about model, this is your model. $scope. Any variable you want to access, you have to say $scope.x equal to 25. So you are initializing the value of x. $scope.name equal to see, this guy is modified. Okay, because this x was not bound to anything, that's not getting modified, but your name is getting modified. Okay, so let us see another example of creating real data. So let us say that you are like in a car business and you want to create an object called car. We are just initializing that. So these are details of a car, and let's see how we can access it in your HTML. Oh, we don't even need this. We can just say okay. So year, make, model. What I defined in my controller, I have access to here in my HTML. So it's a class. So what else can we do? So we define properties. You can also define a method. And write code here.